Okay, this is Tim Miller, the CEO of the Arizona Fibromyalgia Centers, and I am sitting here with Miss
Erin Lambert,
and
I'm excited to tell you about my experience with Arizona Fibromyalgia Centers. Actually, were you going to ask me?
yeah,
I might need to start
what
over.
was
Okay.
no, that's okay. People like it natural,
Okay.
and like
This
it's
is
not
me natural.
yeah, like it's not a canned thing. It's just she came in today to get some things, and we thought we'd shoot this little video so we could show and help others.
Absolutely.
So what was it like having fibromyalgia?
It was disheartening. I had a very quick onset, and it was frustrating. I didn't know that I had fibromyalgia, and I watched myself go from someone who was very active, very capable. I would call myself a workaholic, to someone who had to eventually quit her job, and this was in a very quick onset. So to give you an idea of what it was like, I was going to see the doctor, my regular physician, and then he was recommending me go see a neurologist and get this test done and that test done, and then I ended up in the hospital because the pain got so bad and nobody knew what was going on, and I had 8 or 9 different blood tests that I'm still paying the bills for, and never got an answer. And anything that came close to fibromyalgia, my doctors would kind of look at me and go, no, I'm just not sure that's what it is, so I want you to go see this doctor. So by the end of it, I mean, within a month I had seen 3 different types of doctors, and I was given several different types of medication, and it was just very frustrating. And
What kind of meds did they put you on?
what they put me on, I started off on Percocet, Vicodin for the pain, and neither did anything. Then they also gave me naproxen.
Okay.
Then I moved to gabapentin. Well, first it was Lyrica,
Right.
which was something I chose not to take because my insurance didn't cover it.
Okay.
So couldn't afford that. That's when we went to the gabapentin.
Okay.
Started taking the gabapentin, and then was referred to a pain specialist at this point.
I see.
And that's ultimately where my husband and I made a decision that I didn't want to go that route. I had known several people with different disorders, multiple sclerosis,
Right.
that were, put on morphine, and I didn't want to get to that point.
Sure.
And so we were looking into something else, and my husband came across Arizona Fibromyalgia Centers,
Very good.
and that's
Very
why I
good.
came.
Tell me, you and your husband had planned to have a child,
Yes.
and what did that do to the child plans?
Put it on hold. It completely put it on hold, and that's very emotional for me.
Sure.
Because I'm 30 years old,
Right.
and never did I ever think that I might not be able to have a child.
Sure.
And there was even a point that during the fibromyalgia, during my pain, which was every day, all
Sure.
day long, that I asked my husband if he was even still attracted to me. And he said, it's not that I'm not attracted to you, but you're not yourself anymore. So yeah, it's hard for me.
That
was
hurts.
it killed me.
That really hurts.
And the truth is that I didn't have the energy to even try myself. So it's not, but you can you see that
Sure.
separation that takes place.
Absolutely. The isolation within
Yes.
the relationship.
Yes.
Right. We all go through that have the fibromyalgia. The social isolation is horrible. So you guys found the center, and
Yes.
you ended up here.
Mhm.
And when you walked in, did you think it was going to work?
No, I am someone who does a lot of research. So I immediately went and got books, and I was juicing and trying to do all these recipes, getting the right nutrients in my body, and reading about fibromyalgia. I mean, I think one of the books I got was Fibromyalgia for Dummies. And one of the common sayings was that if a doctor tells you they're going to make you feel better or heal you from this, they don't know what they're talking about, and they're just going to, you need to realize you're going to have this the rest of your life. And I do believe I might have some symptoms, but I mean, I never thought I would ever get pain-free. It made it sound like, all these books made it sound like, here's how you manage the pain,
Sure.
the rest of your life. So, yeah, I mean, my husband is the one who did the research and found it, and called me and said, I think you should try this out. And I talked to Tim, and he said, get her in here, we can help her. And I said, well, that's a little fishy. If he says he can help me, you know, all the
Yeah.
books say you got to be cautious. And so
Sure.
I did. I walked in here thinking I'm going to give it a try because I don't want to go to a pain specialist. I don't want to go that route. So I'm going to do this one more thing before I go and I really dive into the pain meds.
I remember when you walked in, and I remember the look on your face, like, and so I'm used to seeing it, and we have most of the girls walk in and pain etched all over them, and they can barely get through the door, and they've been to everywhere, and so they don't believe that, you know, this will work. So,
Yep.
tell us, what other symptoms did you have? You had pain and...
I definitely went through the fibrofob.
Okay.
That was I didn't realize that until later that I
Till you came out of it?
yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I just know that I started to use the excuse very often. I'm sorry, I'm just my head's not working right these days. Just in conversation, I
Sure.
just couldn't remember things, and I was repeating myself. I learned from my best friend that I told the same story on the same phone call.
Oh,
And
wow.
so she started telling me, you already told me that, and started pointing it out. And then I told my husband, tell me if I'm repeating myself, because I don't even realize I'm doing it. He said, he pointed out too. So
Wow.
that was interesting, because I didn't realize that was a symptom of it.
Sure.
But it mainly started out with the tingling and numbness and pins
The
and needles in my
neuropathy.
legs, and then it progressed to my hands. I would get shooting pains that would just mostly in my legs. Then I started to go through where I lost feeling. There was one day I got up to walk and I hit the floor.
Wow.
Sleeping was impossible. The amount
The
of pain I was
insomnia.
in.
Yeah.
And then of course it started the next day. So it just
So the next day you wake up exhausted.
absolutely.
Right.
I was stiff in the morning. Was really bad. Just really a lot of stiffness. Could barely walk. It was just like my feet were in a cast.
Right.
Both of them. And then I progressively, just what was crazy is that it just got worse and worse and worse and worse, and then I was having all the symptoms, and then to the point that I basically moved from the bed to the couch to the bed to the couch.
You became non-functional, it sounds like. Right.
Absolutely.
So you came in and we got you on the liquid CMO and the rest of
Yes.
the protocol,
Yes.
and sent you out the door with a whole bunch of supplements and a do not eat list and a do eat this stuff list and a cookbook. And what happened?
And what happened was, I'm somebody who, you can't say it doesn't work unless you do it right. And so I followed all of it, and I was preparing myself for the what's the phase where we're
The healing crisis.
Yes, the healing
right?
crisis. Preparing myself for that, and in reality, and it did, because all those symptoms that I had all happened at once. Because I never really had all the symptoms all at once, and that's
Sure.
what was happening. Is that was my healing crisis, was that I was numb, tingling, couldn't walk, stiff, just everything was happening to me
Right.
at once. But it didn't last as long as I was expecting. I really did have a positive outlook, and I changed my diet immediately.
Sure.
I loved Diet Coke.
Oh,
And I stopped that
aspartame.
entirely. Yes.
yeah, the neurotoxin.
That was my little guilty pleasure. My husband used to say that to me. I can't believe, how many, did you have all these today? And it'd be like 6 cans of Diet Coke. Yeah,
Right.
that's how I got through my day. Caffeine, go.
Sure.
And I hardly ate lunch. I would breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I basically had dinner a day.
Right.
And now I was eating 5 times a day and taking the supplements. And it was almost instant. Once you got through that phase, it was
How
like,
long was the Herxheimer reaction, also called the healing crisis?
yes, that for me was about, I would say a week and a half.
Oh, okay.
A week and a half.
I didn't realize that it was that long.
Well, actually, that's not true. It was not a week and a half, because I started this after I saw you guys a week late.
Oh,
So I was just in pain.
I
So
see.
it was a little bit less than a week.
okay.
Um,
That's generally about a
Okay.
2 to 5
Yeah.
days is pretty normal.
so after I saw you, I had a week of not starting it because I went to that wedding and out of town and
Exactly.
traveling. It wouldn't have been a good time. So then I started a week later. So it was about a week of just down and
Okay.
out, but not bad, too bad. And then you just knew instantly. You knew instantly. It was like, for the last 8 years I've been taking medication that I needed to get up in the morning because I couldn't focus, and I'm not even on that medication. So that had nothing to do with my fibromyalgia,
Right.
and I'm off of it now. I
Wow.
get up in the morning on my own, and
That's what I was going to ask you. What's it like now?
it's
How are you?
completely different to me. It's so positive. It's so exciting. There's things that you just have a different outlook.
Are you back to work?
Yes, I started a new job because I left my previous job that I'd been at for 13 years.
Right.
Because I had gone on FMLA and made the decision that the stress of my job is probably what brought the onset or something to that effect. It was
Sure.
just not good. So, yeah, I started a new job. It's great. The environment's
Cool.
great. I'm a happy person. And I was actually worried because I started the treatment and knew that just about the time that I was going to be healthy was the day I was going to start my job. It's like, if this doesn't work, I don't know how I'm going to put on high heels again.
Right.
And walk into that office on my first day of work, and I didn't even worry about it.
Wow.
I'm wearing the shoes I used to wear all the time.
That's
I'm putting
great.
up, you know, and I'm just
So when you have
myself.
fibromyalgia, high heels are out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
I hear that a lot.
Yes.
I hear that a lot. The girls are like, I can wear high heels again. I
Yeah.
can do this. And to me, I'm a guy. I think, okay, is that a
Okay.
big deal? And they're
It's
like,
huge.
yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Oh
So,
yeah. So
that's really cool.
it's really neat.
Yeah.
It's really neat. I'm
Yeah.
golfing again.
You're golfing.
I'm golfing again.
Excellent.
So
How about pain levels?
this is something I told my mother the other day. I went golfing with
Mhm.
my mom and dad and my husband,
Right.
and I was telling her about this whole treatment. I said, the truth is, I kind of almost feel like I should start hurting again, like something needs to happen, because I was getting so used to the pain
Yeah.
that I'm now at a point that there's no pain, and I was so used to being unhealthy, unhappy, and in pain that it was normal. So
Right.
so
A
now
lot of our
it's-
clients tell us that they don't even want to say that they're better
right.
because they're afraid they'll jinx it. They're like, wait, no, I don't want to say that. I've been sick for so long. I'm having this reprieve, and let's just let it go for a while.
And I still feel that way. I still do
Sure.
feel that way, that I don't want to just say, I'm okay, I'm good, but at the
Right.
same time, you know, I'm working with Dr. Black, who's great, and I talk to him and I tell him I feel so good that I'm overextending myself even more so than I was before
Wow.
I had the diagnosis of fibromyalgia, or started getting sick and all of that. I'm doing more than I ever did before, so,
Okay.
yeah.
How
And
about neuropathy? Do you have the neuropathy?
No,
Yeah.
I don't even see any of this. The only signs I ever see still left, which is probably because I'm overextending myself, is a little bit of the fatigue. My
Okay.
muscles. I definitely wouldn't try and go out and run a marathon right now.
Right.
But I'm also just newly into
You've been
this.
on this. Have you been on this a month yet?
Just over a month.
Just over a month. That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I kind of look at it
So
like
no more neuropathy. Your pain levels are on a 1 to 10.
I would say, if ever, a 1. If I get
Okay.
pain,
Okay.
I can't even think of the last time I felt pain.
All right. Fibrophobia?
No.
None.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Insomnia?
Still a little bit of that, but I had that way before my fibromyalgia.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Wow.
So
That's
yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
And here's the real kicker. My husband and I have actively started trying to have a baby again.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Just in the last 2 weeks.
That is fabulous. I'm
So-
so happy for you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are a nice, beautiful young couple, and I'm really
Excited.
happy to be a part of that.
Thank
That's
you so
really
much.
good. So what do you think overall?
Overall,
Yeah.
I think that I have no problem recommending this program to anyone. I have a cousin
Mhm.
who has a blog that writes about, she has fibromyalgia, who I'll
Right.
be giving a call,
Super.
and I'll be offering at my house for her to stay when she comes out for her first visit,
Great.
so that she can see you guys. And I do talk about you guys often because I believe in what you do, and
Super.
I hope that if anybody's watching this video right now, give this a chance before you give, you know, the 18 other doctors that you're going to be recommended to a chance. Do this.
How about the cost of this compared to what you were doing?
Well, like I said, I'm still paying off my other bills, and this, I mean, my husband and I looked at it and said, this is an investment, and it's not even that much. It's my first hospital bill is twice as much as what I paid for this, and that was one visit.
Right.
So it's not
The reason I bring it up is because we got a lot of people saying, "Do you carry insurance?" And
right.
we say, "No, we're naturopaths, and you know we don't take insurance." But by the time you get it calculated out, how long you've been seeing these doctors and your copays, they're $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 into it, and they're no better than they were.
And you know what? And that's the truth about it is, I know you don't take health insurance, but it doesn't bother me to hand over my credit card because I'm better. I feel better.
Yeah.
I was going and having appointment after appointment. I remember the last appointment I had with my neurologist when they said, well, we're not quite sure, your blood test came back fine, everything looks fine, they're the ones who said, we think you might have fibromyalgia. And I started crying. And they said, well, that's good. It's not as bad as some of the other things. It wasn't that I was crying because, you know, it was more along the lines of, I'm crying because you still don't have an answer.
Right.
And I said, I keep coming, and this is the second appointment I've been with you, and this
Right.
is the third test I've had here,
Right.
and you still don't have an answer.
I remember that when you called and I said, do you have a diagnosis of fibromyalgia? And you said, I can't get it. Nobody wants to give it to me.
Absolutely.
And we see that the girls come in, 2 to 5 years is the national average to get a fibromyalgia diagnosis. During that time, it's $5,000 to $25,000 a year. So
Right.
some of these girls have spent, you know, 5 times 25, they spend $125,000, and then finally they'll give them a diagnosis.
And that, exactly.
Yeah.
And mentally, when are you going to break? And
Yeah.
that's just.
Well, mentally, that's extremely destructive, and as far as family finances, that's extremely destructive.
Yeah.
Who can afford this? Who can afford that?
If anything, I consider this very cheap.
Excellent.
It is completely. Every time I see
Well,
the bill after I
that
get
brings the last question. Did we pay you anything to give this testimonial?
Oh, absolutely not. I told my husband I'm going to be so involved in this practice
Right.
that by the end of it, they better start paying me because
This-
I'm excited about it.
Well, this is
No,
good.
but I'm not being paid, and I plan to volunteer my time, you know, in the support groups.
Sure.
And hope to meet anyone
Yeah.
who comes in.
We've started a support group with real support, real solutions. This is how you cook your food. This is
Yes.
how you detox. This is how you do these things, because we found in the medical community there's nothing like that. And fibros affects so many different body organ systems, and everything goes wrong that it takes some time and some help for everyone to put their life back together. And so we decided to do the support group to do that.
Very exciting stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
healthier now than I was before I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
That's
too.
fabulous.
So,
Well, this is Miss Erin Lambert and Tim Miller signing off. Thank you so much.
thank you.
That was fabulous. That was fabulous. You're just gorgeous.